Another new type thing. So, let's see, it's moving. Yes, it is. All right, so we're on question number 25. Question number 25. All right, this is section 4 or 5, right? Okay, so we're looking at number 25, and they give us, they want all the real solutions to x cubed plus x squared. Then what? Minus 17x plus 15. Minus 17x plus 15 equals 0. Now, I will tell you this. Not that I'm going to brag here or whatever, but I'm kind of making it a little bit easier for you here, because as difficult as this problem kind of is, it could be a whole lot more difficult, okay? And what I mean is this. First off, you should be able to answer this very, very quickly. How many total answers this thing got? 3, okay? So to the power of 3, there's going to be 3 answers. 3 total, at most 3 answers, okay? Now, just watch for a second. Once you copy it down, just watch, okay? So we ain't done something like this yet, okay? When we have, it's supposed to equal 0. You should know that's a good thing. It's supposed to equal 0. And we have 4 terms, so you should know that you normally group them. Don't write anything down. Just watch, okay? So if I group these, and I group these, you're on the spot, by the way, okay? You're going to be called on just a second. It's okay. You're good. Okay? What can I factor out of both of these? An x squared. Well, x squared, and again, don't write this down. X squared times what's x3? X plus x squared times what is x squared? 1. What goes into 17 and 15 besides 1? Nothing. Nothing does. But I would factor a negative out because it's starting with a negative. So if I factor the negative out, we would have 17x minus 15. You're up. Do you like what you see there or not?
No.
Why? What don't match? Stuff in the parentheses don't match. So where did we make a mistake? Well, we didn't, but that way doesn't really work, okay? So on these type ones, factoring by grouping doesn't help. That's why I told you not to write this down, because that's not the way we're going to do it, okay? So what we need to understand is this, okay? I'm going to say this a couple times. There's 3 answers, okay? On these problems, from this point forward, I'm going to give you all but 2 answers, okay? I want all the answers. I'm just going to give you some answers, okay? I'll give you all but 2. So how many answers am I going to give you on this particular problem? No, I'm going to give you all but 2 of them. How many total answers are there? 3. If I'm going to give you all but 2, I'm going to give you 1. I'm going to give you 1, okay? If this was to the 5th power, if I gave you all but 2 of them, how many am I going to, if I give you all but 2 of them, how many am I going to give you? I'm going to give you 3. You got to find the other 2, okay? So, now, one of the answers, let me look here, because I'll be honest, I don't know what one of the answers is right now, is -5. -5. Now, just watch. I would just watch for a second here, okay? Now, and again, I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to tell you very quickly, but you don't need to know this, okay? What you need to understand is the possible nice answers are the factors of this number divided by the factors of this number. And what I mean is this. What numbers go into 15? 1, 3, what else? 5, and 15. And what are the factors of this number right here? What's in front of this? There's a 1 there. What's the factors of 1? 1, okay? So it's the factors of this divided by the factors of this, okay? So 1 over 1, which is 1, 3 over 1, which is 3, 5 over 1, which is 5, 15 over 1, which is 15, okay? As well as, I'll tell you what, we're forgetting half of them though, okay? Not just 1, 3, 5, and 15, but also the negatives of those. So, -1, -3, -5, and -15, okay? How about that? -5's on the list, okay? You don't need to know that, okay? I'm not going to make you know that. What I'm basically saying is this. There's 3 answers. The possible nice answers are the factors of this divided by the factors of that. I'm just going to give it to you, though, okay? I'm just going to give you, in this case, one answer, okay? So don't worry about that too much. If you're lost on that, don't worry about it. Where did that number come from? I gave it to you. On a test, I'm going to give you that, a number or 2, okay? So, -5. Now, let's put this question on hold here, okay? If I give you this, I want to make sure our terminology is on the same page here, okay? If I give you this right here, x plus 4, x minus 5 equals 0, okay? This is very simple, but it's also very simple to mess this thing up, okay? You should be able to look at this right away and say what the zeros are, okay? The zeros are -4 and +5. These are the zeros. The zeros are 5 and -4, because when I plug in 5 or -4, you get an answer of 0. If I plug in 5 here, 5 minus 5 is 0. 0 times stuff is still 0. If I plug in negative 4, plus 4 is 0. 0 times other stuff is still 0. These are your zeros. So what you need to understand is, these are your factors. We factor it. When you factor something, you have factors, okay? So this is a very basic question here. I want to hear if somebody can say it, though. It's real basic, okay? I'm going to do another example here in a second, see if we can get it, okay? My zeros are just these numbers, and here are what my factors are, okay? If I give you this right here, x minus 9, x plus 8, x minus 7. My zeros are 9, negative 8, and 7. Those are my zeros, okay? What's one of the factors? If 9, negative 8, and 7 are my zeros, one of my factors is what? X minus 9. What's another factor? X plus 8. What's another factor? X minus 7. What do factors always have? When I said my factors, what did I say every time? X. They all have to have an X. Okay? They all have an X. Okay? Zeros are just numbers. Factor, or whatever variable you use, X, Y, Z, whatever. Okay? So factors start out as this. Okay? They have an X. So keep that in mind. So, kind of a roundabout way of doing this, but what I want you to understand is this. If negative 5 is a 0, I'm telling you negative 5 is a 0. I mean, if you wanted to get a head start, I don't want you to right now. If you want to get a head start, you could go to question number 25 and click on negative 5. Negative 5 is one of the answers, okay? We need all 3 answers, though, so we need 2 more.
So
Okay?
you plug it in.
What's that?
So you plug it in.
Kind of, okay? And what I mean is this. So if I plugged in negative 5, what would we get? 0. I'm telling you, that is a 0. That means when I plug it in, we get 0. There's 2 other numbers that I could plug in, though, and get 0, and that's what we need to find, okay? So if negative 5, think about what you said about a minute ago, okay? If negative 5 is a 0, if negative 5 is a 0, what is a factor of this? What's the first thing you need to say when you say a factor? X plus 5. X plus 5 is a factor of this. Put this on hold. Let's go back to middle school. Is 2 a factor of 12? Or not? Yeah. Why?
Because it adds up.
Okay. Is 3 a factor of 15? Sure. Is 4 a factor of 7? Why? Or if you divide it out, what do you get? What'd you say? Somebody said it. A decimal. You get a decimal, okay? So what you need to understand is, you said you could times it to get that, or when you divide it, you don't get a decimal, okay? So a factor means what I want you to know right now is when a factor means if you divide it out, you don't get a decimal, okay? So if I took this and I divided by that, you wouldn't get a decimal because it is a factor. It wouldn't have a decimal, okay? It would be no remainder whatsoever. So how many times does this go into this? We don't know. Like what I mean is this. If I give you this right here. Is 2 a factor of that? Does 2 go into that?
Yeah.
Sure. How many times?
A lot.
Good. A lot. Okay. Not really sure. Okay. How would you find out how many times? You'd actually have to divide it out. Okay. So x plus 5 does go into this. How many times? I don't know. We need to divide it out. So we're going to divide it out. I'll give you guys the option. You guys want to do long division or synthetic division? Synthetic. If you did that assignment, I mean, I can't think of any way anybody's ever going to convince me that long division is easier than synthetic. Every year I have at least one person that likes long division better. I think they're crazy, okay? So let's make sure we haven't forgotten synthetic. Well, it goes in that little box right here. For dividing by x plus 5, remember you put the opposite in there. So you put minus 5. So after 5 minutes, let's summarize this. I could have just said do this, but I want you to understand it, okay? I gave you an answer. You wrote x, the opposite, the answer. Then you put the opposite here. Let's make it real simple. Whatever answer I give you, just put it in the box, okay? If I give you 12, you put 12 in the box, okay? The longer way, which is not really that long, if 12 is a factor, if 12 is a 0, x minus 12 is a factor, you put the opposite, you're doing the opposite twice, which just cancels it out, okay? So to make it real simple, just plug that number in. Okay, and then we put our coefficients. There's a 1 here, there's a 1 here, a negative 17, and a positive 15. Now, I know I said it kind of quickly, hopefully you guys caught it. If I do this right, This number right here better be what? Not -5, careful. Yeah, why? Is 2 a factor of 11? Why? Because when you divide it, you get a remainder. Okay? This is I told you it's a factor. So you divide it, your remainder is going to be 0. It better be 0. If it's not, you made a mistake. It better be 0, and it will be. Okay? So you guys remember, I don't know if I've done a synthetic one with you guys other than on video. What do I do with this 1? Do you guys remember? Drop it down. Ooh, don't put a 5, put a 1. Okay? And then what do I do? Multiply what? 1 by the magic number, -5. And that's -5. Where's that -5 go? Right here? Right here. Then what do? Add these and get -4. Then what? Multiply -4 and what? And the magic number, -5, that's 20. Then we add to 3. We times to -15. We add to 0. How about that? It's a 0. It better be 0. Okay, yes ma'am?
Okay, so you gave us.
I gave you one answer.
Okay, so they're gonna give us one on the assignment.
I'm going to. The book, remember when I said you don't really need to know this? I said you take the factors of this, divide by the factors of that. You're supposed to do that. I'm making it a little bit easier for you, okay? What I'm saying is I'm going to give you, I'm just personally, I'm going to say, here are some answers, okay? Give me the rest of the answers. On a written test, I'm going to say, here's a problem. There's 5 answers. Here's 3 of them. You give me the other 2, okay? So, all right, so what the heck is 1, -4, 3, 0? This right here, if you remember, is the remainder, which is 0, and it's supposed to be. This right here is the number. This right here is the x. This is the x squared. So we have 1x squared minus 4x plus 3. Okay? I don't think I've told you guys this yet this year. I'm going to say something to you that you want to know. Well, what do we do now? How are we going to find the other answers? Any idea? Give you a clue. From this point forward in this class, if you're not sure, not that I try to embarrass anybody and try to put you on the spot other than her, but if you're not sure what's going on and I ask you a question, you know what? You just say this word and you're going to be right more times than wrong. You know what I do next? It rhymes with tractor. Factor. Okay? If I say what do we do? Say factor. You're probably right. Okay? You're probably right. Factoring is, I can't think of when factoring is a bad idea. Okay? Let's factor this thing. So, x squared is x and x. We look at our last term, not our middle term, not yet. It's a positive. It's either a plus and a plus or a minus and a minus. By now, you should be able to tell me it's going to be a minus and a minus because got to get negatives somehow. And I don't make anybody feel bad, but this one really shouldn't be hard to factor at all. When I see a 3 right here and I see a 4 right here, what's that?
Do you have to do like the negative, like to get the negative?
Right, I didn't say it, but yeah, negative, yeah. When I see, just forget the negatives right now. When you see a 3 and a 4, any numbers popping into your head right now?
3 and 1.
What's so special about 3 and 1?
It times the 3 and adds to
I mean, that don't get any easier. There's only one way to times the 3. 1 times 3, and then it adds to 4. Is it 1 and 3 or 3 and 1? Doesn't matter. So what are the other 2 answers?
3 and
Positive 3 and positive 1. So be careful here, though. When you click on your answers on the computer, do you click in 1 and 3? You click on 1 and 3 and what?
negative.
And -5. I gave you one of them. You still need to click on it. You need to still input it, okay? I'm going to give you 1. You have to find the other 2. And don't lose sight of this. If I plug in 1 for all these x's, you know what you get? 0. If I plug in 3 for all these x's, you know what I get? 0. If I plug in -5 for all these x's, you get 0. There's our 3 answers, okay? Now, if you're sitting there going, man, that took a while. It'll get, each problem I do will be a little bit quicker because we're going to do it the same type way, okay? All right, so let's look at, that was 25. Let's look at number 27. Okay, so we have x3 minus 10x squared. 10x squared. Where are we? Plus 19x plus 30. Plus 19x plus 30. Okay. So how many answers are we going to have here?
3.
3. How many am I going to give you?
1.
1, because you need to find all but 2. Okay? So I'm going to give you, so I'm going to give you one of the answers. I'm just going to look it up. And if I wasn't looking at my computer, I honestly don't know any of the answers right now. I don't know any of them right now, okay? If I couldn't look at the computer screen and tell you the answers, I would take the factors of this and divide by the factors of that, okay? You don't need to do this. On a test, I'm going to say, here's an answer. Give me the other two, okay? So, if you're curious, all right, here, what are the factors of 30? 1 and what? 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. Divide by the factors of this number. What are the factors of 1? 1. But it's only half of them, okay? We forgot the negatives, okay? And it's kind of weird here because, for example, is 5 a factor of 30? Yeah, it goes in 6 times. Negative 5 is also a factor of 30. How many times negative 5 go into 30? Negative 6 times, okay? So you got to remember all the negatives, okay? So it's 1, it's also negative 1, negative 30, negative 2. You don't need to write this down. Okay? So I'm just curious, okay? I'm going to give you one of the answers, okay? Could like 4 of those work? Could 4 of those work? Are there 4 numbers that could have worked there? There's no way 4 of them can work. Why?
There's only 3.
There's only 3 answers. There's only 3 answers. I'm going to give you one of them. And let's try 6. Let's try 6. So 6, how about that? It was on the list. Okay? 6. Now, I said I made this, I don't want to sound like I'm bragging here, but I did make this easier because I know 6 works. There's only one way I know that 6 works. I just look at my computer screen. If I didn't know that, you know what I'd have to do? I'd take all those numbers and what? Plug them in. I have to plug them in, okay? And that would take a long time, okay? So I'm going to save you some time. We're just going to say 6. So what goes in the box? Negative 6 or 6?
Negative 6.
Careful. Hang on. Be careful.
Or 6.
The roundabout way of doing it is this. 6 is a 0, so x minus 6 is a factor. So what goes into the box? 6. So rather than change the sign twice, just take the number I give you and just plug it in. Just plug it in. And this better end in a 0. If it doesn't end in a 0, you did something wrong. Okay? Okay, top line is 1, negative 10, 19, 30. We drop our 1 times the 6, add the negative 4.
See, like, I'm confused, like, where you get the add to negative.
The what?
So you drop your 1.
Yep. And then we multiply, add over and over and over. Times, add, times, add, times, add. Times to 6. Add to negative 4.
Oh, okay.
So what am I going to do next? Times what?
To
Huh?
19.
Times what?
To negative 4.
Times what?
19.
No, not times 19.
6.
Times the magic number, 6. Negative 24, then what? Add what?
30.
No, don't add 30 yet. Add 19 and negative 24. Then we times 6 and negative 5, add to 0. Now, if you're doing these and it doesn't end in 0, should you keep on going ahead? You need to back up. You made a mistake somewhere. It better end in 0, okay? So, this right here is your remainder. This right here is your number. That's your x. That's your x squared. So we have 1x squared minus 4x minus 5. Now what should we do? Factor. Parentheses. X squared's x and x. We look at our last term. It's a negative. How are we going to make a negative? Plus minus. There's only one way to times and get 5. 1 and 5. And they have to add to negative 4. Okay? So, say what? Why positive 1, negative 5?
Because positive 1 plus negative 5 is negative 4.
And?
And positive 1 times negative 5 is negative 4.
Good. What are my other 2 answers? Negative 1, positive 5. Again, do we just type in negative 1 and positive 5? And also 6. Okay? And don't lose sight of this. What is so special? We're not doing anything more different than this. If I give you this right here, x plus 1 equals 7. Is 9 a solution to that? Better be able to answer that. Is 9 a solution to x plus 1 is 7? No, why? Because 9 plus 1 is not 7. Is the answer 6? Yeah. You know why?
9 plus 1.
Because 6 plus 1 is, huh?
9 plus 1 is 6?
No, did I say 6? I meant 10.
Okay.
Or I said 9 plus 1 does not equal 7. The answer is 6 because that's a true statement. If I plug in -1 for all these x's, you know what you get? 0. If I plug in 5 for all these x's, you know what you get? 0. If I plug in 6 for all these x's, you know what you get? 0. If I plug in anything else, you know what you get? Not 0. Okay, that's what we want, is 0. Okay, let's try a few more. 27, 29, I think is next. Alrighty, 29. So in 29 we have, where are we at? X3 minus 6x squared. 6x squared minus 7x plus 60. Minus 7x plus 60. And I'm not going to write these down, but if I didn't look at my computer screen, the way I would get the possible answers is take the factors of 60, which is a bunch of numbers, and divide by the factors of, in this case, 1. Okay, you always take the factors of the constant, divide by the factors of the lead coefficient. How many answers am I going to give you on this one?
3.
There's 3 answers. How many am I going to give you?
1.
1. If it was 6th degree, how many would I give you?
6.
No, you need to give me 6. How many am I going to give you?
1.
I'll give you 4. You got to find 2 of them, okay? I'm always going to make you find 2. I'm going to give you all the answers except for 2 of them. And I'm going to give you -3. So, what goes in the box?
3. Or negative.
-3, okay? Now, here's the deal. If you accidentally put the opposite in, you're probably not going to end up with zeros. I tell you, you made a mistake somewhere, okay? So, top line is 1, -6, -7, 60. I'm going to shut my mouth about the next 45 seconds. Go ahead and do this synthetically. Go ahead and do it. Any question on synthetic? We drop the 1. 1 times -3 is -3. Add -6 and -3, get -9. -9 times -3 is 27. Add -7, you're at 20. 20 times -3 is -60. 60, -60 is 0. Okay? So what is 1, -9, 20, 0? That's our remainder. That's our number. That's our x. That's our x squared. So we have x squared minus 9x plus 20. Now what do we do? Heard somebody say that, I think. Factor, okay? And I'm hoping at this point, at least some of you, even before you start writing, when you see a 20 and a 9, are there any numbers that are popping in your head when you see a 20 and a 9? 10 and what?
3.
Well, why 10 and 3?
Never mind.
Okay. Any numbers popping in anybody's head when you see a 20 and a 9?
5 and 4.
What's so special about 5 and 4?
They multiply 20. Add 9.
Good. Let's go and do this. 2 sets of parentheses, x and x. We look at our last term, it's a positive. Is it plus plus or minus minus?
It's minus.
Got to get some negatives somehow, minus minus. And you said 4 and 5. You want to stick with 4 and 5? They times the 20 and add to 9. So what are your answers? -4 and -5? Positive 4 and positive 5. So your answers are 4, 5, and -3. Does it seem like it's getting a little easier now that we've done 2 or 3 of them? Okay. Like I say, the first one, people are usually like, what the heck is going on here? But then by the time we get to about 2 or 3 of them, good thing is we're doing the same problem over and over and over.
Wait, what?
Huh?
Do the same problem all over and over?
With different numbers.
Oh.
Okay, 29. Okay, let's look at number, let's see, 29, we'll skip 30. Okay, the next one in the assignment is 33. Okay, 33. Okay, so 33, again, finding the zeros. Okay, so we have, it says find the real zero. So it says f of x. We're not going to write f of x, we're going to write 0. Okay, so 0 equals x3 minus 2x squared. 2x squared minus 23x plus 60. Minus 23x plus 60. Okay. Okay. Put you guys on the spot here. So what do we do first?
Give us an answer.
Very good. Give me an answer. That's what you're supposed to say. I can't do nothing until I give you an answer. I'll give you -5. I'm going to start this. I'm going to have you guys try to finish the entire problem up, okay? What goes in the little box? -5. Top line is what? 1? 2? 23? 23? -23. Watch the negatives. 60. Okay, I'm going to shut my mouth so you guys get the other two answers. Work. Don't just do division. Do synthetic division and see if you can get the final the other two answers. Any times it? Okay, drop the 1. Go to -2. Okay, -5, -7. Oh, that's 12. -23, 35 is 12. And 12 times -5 is -60. Which is good because it's supposed to be 0. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Because I gave you
Uh-huh.
1, and you add those to -7. So
Uh-huh.
then do I times -5?
Hang on a second. So you times that number times this number. -5 times -7. Right there. And that'd be 35.
Then add those.
Just keep working. I'm just curious. Does anybody think they have answers? What'd you guys get? 3 and 4? Just keep working. You should get 3 and 4. 3 and 4 are the other two answers. Keep working though. This ain't that bad now, is it? I'm going to quietly start putting the solution on the board, but keep working. Only look up if you have to. Don't just copy stuff down, okay? Keep working. Okay, you look at the last one. How do you make a positive when you multiply? A what times a what? Times a what? Okay, or a negative times a negative. So it's either you're either going to put a plus plus or a minus minus. We got some negatives here, so you got to have some negatives somehow. So it's got to be negative negative. Now, why did I put 3 and 4 there? What's so special about 3 and 4? But why? What's so special about 3 and 4? When I see this 12, 3 and 4 do what? They and they not multiply. Add to 7. Add 7. So 3 and 4. Okay. Any questions on that one? Okay. Let's try. I think 2 more, then I'll be done with this section. You guys will be able to work a little bit. Okay. That was number 33. So number 35 and 41. Yeah, 2 more I'm going to do with you guys. 35. There's one more thing we have to talk about, but it's really not that bad. 35. Okay, so 35. So we have, again, it says find the real zeros. So it says h of x. We're going to write 0. 0 equals what? x3 plus 10x squared. 10x squared plus 31x plus 30. Plus 31x plus 30. Okay, I'm going to give you an answer, and the answer I'm going to give you is -5. -5. Okay? -5. So again, same thing. Go ahead and try this one. See what you get for answers. Get all 3 answers. I gave you one of them. Good. Again, I'm going to slowly start putting the solution on the board here. Only look up if you need to. When we get to this point, I don't know if I should say this or not. Just be really, really careful, okay? A lot of times students, when they see something like this, I want to see if anybody can figure this out. Sometimes students will think it's 5 and 1. And I get exactly what they're thinking, okay? Any idea where they'd get 5 and 1 from? This is what you don't do. You don't do this. Where did they get 5 and 1?
It multiplies the 5 but adds the 6.
Is that kind of the right thing? But it's totally backwards. It's times to this one, add to that one. 5 and 1 times to this and add to that. Don't do that. Okay, that's not right. Okay, it sounds good, but it's not right. Okay. And one other thing also, I haven't said this yet. Am I done? No, I hate it when students do this on a test. If they do this on a test, I got to take a point off. Okay. You've done. I need actual answers. Okay. Answers are just numbers. Okay. What's the last thing I need to do?
-2.
I hate it when they do that. I have to take a point off though because, I mean, it's a 5-point problem. I take a point off. It's only a point still. You know, I want to give them full credit. They're the hard part. Just give me the easy part. Okay, well, last thing we need to talk about. There's only a couple of questions that are like this, okay?
Mr. Perry,
Yes, ma'am.
I did it how you said not to, so it's add to 5 times the 6.
It's times to this, add to that. Did you do 6 or 5 and 1 like I showed you? Don't do that, okay? That's good. You're close, but you're totally backwards. So, okay, last one I'm going to do with you guys. Okay, number 41. Number 41. This sounds really, really confusing, okay? It's not that bad, though, okay? It's easier than what we've been doing, okay? It says, write a polynomial function of least degree that has a lead coefficient of 1 and given zeros. Then it says write it in standard form, okay? And we've already kind of talked about this. The zeros are -2, 3, and 6, okay? Now, you got to be careful on this one, okay? What degree do you think this polynomial is? First degree, second degree, third degree, fourth degree, what? Third, why? 3 answers. Okay, there's 3 x-intercepts. Now you got to be careful. Could it be higher than third degree?
Yeah.
It could be because it might be a double answer, okay? So, but they want the least degree, so we're going to make it third degree, okay? So, if -2, and I called you guys on this, I only said it once, and I don't remember who said it, but they said the right answer, okay? If -2 is a 0, what's one of the factors? What's the first sound out of your mouth when I ask you for a factor? What's that? X. So if -2 is a 0, give me a factor. X. No. X plus 2. X plus 2. If -3 is a 0, I'm sorry, I just gave it to you partially. If 3 is a 0, X minus 3 is a factor.
Then X minus 6.
X minus 6, okay? And it said your lead coefficient is 1. So you know what number is sitting right there?
1.
A 1. And when you multiply by 1, what happens?
Everything
It stays the same, okay? Now, we're not done. They want it in standard form, okay? So what do you think we're going to do? What do parentheses mean?
factor.
It already is factored.
So we're gonna make
Multiply.
zeros.
We're going to multiply. How do you multiply 3 things at once? If I asked you this right here, 2 times 3 times 10, okay? What is 2 times 3 times 10?
2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 10 is 30.
6 times 10 is, what'd you say, 60?
16. Oh yeah.
Okay,
No.
that's what you meant, 60.
Yeah.
2 times 3 is 6 times 10. Now, did you times 3 numbers at once?
No.
Who can multiply 3 numbers at once?
Nobody.
Nobody can, myself included. A computer can. The fastest computer in the world can't multiply 3 numbers at once. It has to do 2 at a time. You did 2 times 3 first, you got 6 times 10. Is that the only way to do it?
Mhm.
Could you have done 3 times 10 is 30 times 2?
Yeah.
You could have done 2 times 10 is 20 times 3. So which is the right way? They all are. It doesn't matter which way you do it, okay? So how do we multiply these 3 things all together at the same time?
No.
We don't. We got to pick 2 at a time. I'm going to do these 2. Okay. How do you multiply 2 terms by 2 terms? What do we call that? 2 terms times 2 terms. Heard somebody say it, I think. What? 4-letter word, starts with F, and don't be naughty.
Foil.
Foil, okay? So let's FOIL this thing out, okay? First, x times x is x squared. My outer is x times negative 6 is negative 6x. My inner is negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And my last is negative 3 times negative 3, which is positive 18. Can I clean that up a little bit? Sure. Negative 6 and negative 3 is negative 9x. Okay, we all done? We still have to times by what?
Other side.
What do you mean the other side?
X plus
X plus 2. So we're going to times each of these first by what? Not at the same time. First x, then later on by what? 2. So x times x squared is x3. X times negative 9x is negative 9x squared. X times 18 is 18x. We done? Why? You got times by 2. 2 times x squared is 2x squared. 2 times negative 9 is negative 18x. 2 times 18 is 36. Have I multiplied everything by everything? Yes, we all done. Almost. What? Combine like terms. I can't put anything with x3, but I can put a negative 9x squared and a positive 2x squared together. That's a negative 7x squared. 18x and negative 18x, those cancel. Plus 36. Now, I don't want to embarrass anybody, making me feel bad, but if you can answer this, great. If not, listen very, very carefully, okay? If I graph this thing, does this graph ever touch the x-axis?
No.
Yeah.
How many times?
Oh,
Once,
no,
twice,
I've
3,
seen
4, 5 times? 3?
Yeah.
Okay, it touches 3 times. Where?
1.
Nope. Not 1.
0.
Not 0.
2.
It's almost when you say 2, but you're totally wrong when you say 2. It touches in 3 spots. Listen carefully, because as soon as we say this, you're going to be, oh, jeez, I should
Negative
get
2,
that.
3, 6.
It touches it here, here, and here. If I plug in negative 2 for these x's, you know what you get? 0. If I plug in 3 for these x's, you know what you get?
0.
0. If I plug in 6, you know what you get? 0. This is where it touches the x-axis, okay? So it touches in 3 spots. Okay, one more of these. That's 41, and then I'm all done with going over these. That was 40. Oh, wait, no, that's it. I tell you what, I want to do 42 with you too also. There's only 2 like this. Okay, so this time they give you zeros of negative 4, negative 2, and 5. Negative 4, negative 2, and 5. So it touches at negative 4, negative 2, and positive 5. What are the factors?
X
X what?
plus 4.
X plus 4,
X plus 2.
X plus 2,
X minus 5.
X minus 5, okay? You can't times 3 things together at once. It's impossible, okay? So we picked 2. I'm going to do the last 2. It really doesn't matter. Let's FOIL that out. Our first terms are x times x, which is x squared. Outer are x times negative 5, that's negative 5x. Inners are 2 times x, which is 2x. Last are 2 times negative 5, which is negative 10. Now, you don't have to do this, but a lot of students I see do this. They start timesing by x plus 4 now. I would do something else first before you times by x plus 4. What could I do first to kind of clean things up a little bit?
Make it.
Do you have to combine your like terms right now? No, but we're going to do that to simplify it. You know how we simplify things? To make it
Easier.
simpler, okay? Let's put these together. X squared minus 3x minus 10. So we're going to times everything by what first? X, then later on by what? 4. X times x2 is x3. X times negative 3 is negative 3x squared. X times negative 10 is negative 10x. Times by 4 times x squared is 4x squared. 4 times negative 3 is negative 12x. 4 times negative 10 is negative 40. Again, we've multiplied everything by everything, but we're not quite done because we have to combine like terms. X3 combines with nothing, but negative 3x squared and a positive 4x squared is a positive 1x squared. I would just put x squared. The computer sometimes doesn't like the 1 there. I would just put 1x squared. Negative 10 and negative 12 is negative 22x minus 40. Okay, you should be able to answer this now based on the last question. Does this touch the x-axis ever? How many times? 3. Where?
Negative
4, negative 2, and positive 5. Okay. All right. Okay, so here's the deal. You got a few minutes, about 10 minutes, so you guys can click on answers, maybe do a problem or two. Tomorrow, even though it's virtual, it's kind of a work day. On Thursday, we're going to start the next section. We're going to start it. I'll give you some time to work on this, but not the entire hour. You might have about 20, 25 minutes on Thursday. Your assignment's going to be due Thursday at the end of the day, okay? If you look right now, it says that it's due tomorrow at 3 o'clock. I'm going to make it Thursday at 3 o'clock, okay? So don't just do nothing tomorrow in this class. Make sure that you get a little bit of a head start on this. Oh, hang on a second. Do me a favor. You can't work on these tomorrow. Why? Anybody know? Some of them you can. Huh? I gotta give you some answers. Write these down. Okay? You need some answers. Some answers. Okay, number 26. Yeah, you guys would be totally stuck. 26, an answer. There's 3 answers. The one I'm going to give you is -2. 26, the answer I'm going to give you is -2. You give me the other 2 answers. 28, there are 3 answers. The one I'm going to give you is -5. -5 is an answer to 28. Number 30, there are 3 answers. And one answer I'm going to give you is -1. -1 for 30. 34, there are 3 answers. The one I'm going to give you is -4. 34, an answer is -4. 36, an answer I'm going to give you is 1. 36 is 1. Anybody need those repeated? Okay, so now you can do them.